I'm Dr. Babak Larian.
And I'm Dr. Babak Azizzadeh.
So we're going to talk about parotid cancers that are causing either facial weakness or paralysis, affecting the facial nerve. This is a big problem. I often say that Bell's palsy is a very dangerous diagnosis because some people are diagnosed with Bell's palsy where in reality they have a cancer growing into their nerve. So whenever someone has facial weakness that's progressing slowly over time, that's really suspicious that something else besides a virus is going on that's causing it. But once we discover what the true reason is, and we do imaging studies, I do ultrasounds in the office to see what's there, and needle biopsies or core biopsies or whatever kind of method we need to do to get to the diagnosis so we can get to the treatment. That's a journey, right? And that's a partnership with us and you who may be suffering from something like this. But we get you through it. We have a lot of experience with dealing with patients who have this combination, this unfortunate combination of the tumor affecting the facial nerve. And I think the magic here is you and I working together
Yeah.
because you have so much experience with people who have come in with facial paralysis, right? And I have a lot of experience with patients who have cancers. And so this combination really helps us get to the patients quickly, diagnose them, get them to the operating room and treat them, and then get them to rehabilitation quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the key things that we always discuss is benign tumors of the parotid gland rarely, if ever, cause weakness of the facial nerve before surgery. Now, sometimes maybe the surgeon goes in and they're removing it and they can cause some weakness, but before surgery,
That's rare.
it's rare. So if there's a growth in the parotid gland or it's been discovered and there's facial weakness, as Dr. Larian was saying, gradual, it's something that we're very concerned about. Now, sometimes people come in as a progressive facial weakness. We don't know where the tumor is, we don't know where the growth is, but it eventually leads us to the parotid gland. Not always, but many times. And that's unfortunately one of the misdiagnosis issues that Dr. Larian was talking about. But once we have a facial weakness, I think this is where this is not cookie cutter. It needs to
Yeah.
be so thought out, well thought out, finding before surgery, finding out what the tumor type potentially is and what the game plan is. And we can literally, we have to have oftentimes like 10 different game plans going into surgery,
Right.
what we're going to find. The big picture is we want our patients to get number one, cancer out.
Right.
Survival is number one. Number two is get the facial nerve function or facial smile and symmetry and eyelid function and so forth phenomenal, the best we can. And there's a lot of different ways that we can approach it. And these two things will lead to a much greater, obviously, quality of life.
Right. Yeah. And obviously blinking and smiling, these are the two most important functions of the facial nerve system. And optimizing that during surgery and afterwards is key. So that's why, as you were saying, we have multiple plans going into the operating room, and based on what we find during surgery, the location of the tumor, which branches are affected, where the tumor is touching, and what's functioning well and what's not functioning well, we can exercise which plan is going to give you the best outcome in terms of eye closure and smile. Now, sometimes we get patients who have just a minor, like a little bit of weakness in the lower lip. And those are easier because they're singular nerves that we have to
Yeah.
treat, right? As opposed to multiple nerves. If the eye closure is poor and they can't smile, that's a more complicated thing that we need to do. But we deal with all of these different aspects and all these different presentations of these tumors. We've gotten a lot of experience treating
Yeah.
patients and making their lives better.
Yeah, and it's hard. This is not, by the way, this is probably the most complex thing I think
That we
that
do,
we
yeah.
deal with for our parotid patients. But what's critical is uh, once there's facial weakness, we know that unfortunately that a part of that nerve has been infiltrated with
Right.
cancer. Now, sometimes we can localize it where if there's a little weakness here or weakness there. But oftentimes, even if it's localized, we have to, part of the treatment that Dr. Larian does is we have to figure out where that cancer is beginning and ending. And that surgery, that's the difficulty of the surgery, because we need to get that cancer out. And oftentimes we bring in one of our great colleagues, a neurologist, who is phenomenal because he can follow the nerve into almost like inside, the ear bones and so forth. So we can get that nerve out safely, Dr. Larian's part, and then we can potentially do nerve reconstruction, nerve grafts, other treatments so that we could bring back some emotional expressions, because we want to always, our number one goal is quality of life. And quality of life is all led by cancer being out, a natural, spontaneous, inconspicuous smile and facial appearance. So those are all the things. And we use a variety of different, reanimation techniques right there and then. And sometimes we have to come back later and do additional treatments. So, this becomes a kind of something that we're going to work with you for a long period of time to get you to the best place possible.
Right. Once you have a cancer diagnosis, we have a close relationship thereafter, because once we treat you and cure you, then for years and years, I'm working with you to monitor and make sure there's no sign of that cancer coming back, right? If there's a facial nerve issue, then Dr. Azizzadeh is working with you to rehabilitate it and optimize your outcomes and get you as much of emotional facial expressions as possible, right? And that's a lot of work, right? And it requires that we be a partner. Fortunately, nowadays, because of these video consults and Zooms and things like that, we can help people across the world with these things. So they'll have the surgery, and then I can guide you somewhere in Europe or Asia, Africa, anywhere. What needs to be done next, what scans to get, what kind of rehabilitation to do, and we can follow up closely and see everything and see how you're progressing.
I mean, one of the things I love about what you do, and this is kind of very unique, is, like for instance, our patient from Canada, you're calling the radiation oncologist, you're calling the local head and neck surgeons, and that intimate connection is going to improve lives. I mean, and that's one of the things I think that's really, really critical. And this is a multidimensional, not only in kind of what we do during surgery, but long term, and our timing and how we can get you to kind of hopefully the best possible place. And luckily, our experience has been so positive with our patients, and we're so happy that we've had the opportunity to be a part of these very complex journeys. But, more often than not, the end result is so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We still get cards and thank you cards years and years and decades later for people we've been involved with, because we end up becoming almost part of the family, which is really truly a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah, and one last thing is also the recovery from these surgeries. I think one of the things that we really focus on is how do we get you back to your day-to-day stuff, making these surgeries, like we do these on outpatient basis for the majority of time. People, take only 10, 14 days off maybe from work. We try to expedite the procedure so that you're not delayed months and months and months. And, we really put our own, touch points in every aspect of that. And honestly, we have an amazing team that's been working with us 15, 20, 21 years that really are able to not only understand the gravity of the situation, but be able to facilitate and empathize with our patients. So we're very lucky and blessed. It's not because the two of us can only do so much. We need a whole team.
Right. Yes, absolutely.